sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Hey everyone, this is Steve from SCOART Glass, and welcome to the first live stream. So this is Stained Glass Live, and the purpose of this live is to provide an avenue to just share the artwork that I do. And later on during these streams, we will be bringing on different guests, stained glass artists, and we'll be able to just interact with them and ask them questions and just have a nice discussion on different stained glass topics. So tonight what I'm going to do is doing some work on a project that actually has been sitting for a while on my table. I think probably a year now it's been sitting on the table. Just been sidetracked with a bunch of different other projects and just never really got around the time to complete it. And I figured this was a way to kind of force myself, in a sense, to complete some of my personal projects that I want to do and to share those with you. So with that, we're just going to go ahead and get started. If you have any questions about stained glass or are looking to get started in stained glass, I'm more to help to try and help anybody out who wants to get started. It's a little bit about me. I am actually self-taught. I actually learned from YouTube and different stained glass artists that are out there on YouTube, and just watched a lot of videos that maybe what you're doing right now is watching videos and trying to learn stained glass on your own. So let me go here, and this is the project we're going to be doing today. And as you can see, I've actually started it, and I've got some of the foiling done, but some of the things I need to do is I've got to do some more grinding, and I've got to get some things marked out to where they will fit in the spot just a little bit better. And so I'm going to be doing some marking of the areas where I need to do some grinding at. So I'm actually going to kind of stand up a little bit and get things going here. So one thing that I like to do is once I get the initial cuts done, I like to put them back down on the pattern and kind of see where I'm at as far as fitting. As I know right now, I'm a little bit over all up in here. So what I want to do is I want to try and get some of these trimmed back and start pushing it back down so I can actually get to the point of where my end mark is. Because as I keep doing this, it's just going to keep stacking, and it's going to extend itself all the way out. So I need to contain that. So you'll see here, I don't know if you can, in this area you probably can't see very well. Let me get this piece kind of, and then over here, and then kind of right here. And like I said, if you have any questions, I'll try and keep an eye on the chat box and try and respond to your questions as I see them come up. I got started in stained glass probably, let's see here, almost 2 years now. I've been doing it. And I started this channel about last June, so we're kind of right in the midst of COVID, and I actually started it on Father's Day, and just kind of watching videos. I've been contemplating it for a while and decided that I was just going to go ahead and do it. I think it's a awesome way to interact with others and really to interact with the other artists. I like to watch the other artists and pick up things from, you know, how they do certain things in stained glass, and I think it's a good learning environment for all of us, and a good way to learn things. If I if I ever have to, you know, do a repair on something, or I'm not sure how to do something, the first place I actually go is YouTube. Somebody's made a video on it somewhere. That's where I've kind of started seeing is that you can pretty much almost find anything on YouTube nowadays. Okay, so that was a mistake. So I actually need to do this area first because this is going to stack up before I make those marks up here. So what I'll be doing, let me get these first couple going here. And I'm going to be kind of going back and forth to the grinder. So hopefully I'm going to get some of these pieces marked here, get them set down, come back, do another mark, go back to the grinder, get it grinded, and then come back. I was looking at trying to take the camera with me over there, but I'm not sure if that's going to be a good idea or not. Trying to switch cameras all the way back and forth. I don't have another camera set up over there yet, but I am working on that. So that way I can switch between cameras a lot easier at the different stations. So let me go over here, do a piece of grinding real quick, and then shouldn't take me very long to grind this one down, and then we'll get this other one done up real quick. So I'll be right back. All right, we got this one done. And if you're catching this on the replay, again, the grinder's off, and I don't have a don't have a camera set over there, so you'll be seeing me come back and forth into the shot here. But I wanted to get this going here. Okay, there we go, much better fit. This comes down a little bit. Now I don't have to grind those few pieces over here. I still got to grind some there. And then do have a little bit here. Nobody got questions yet? This is a medium. I have tried other types of art and different mediums. I did pottery for a little bit, tried it out. I actually liked pottery. And I think at some point I might decide to try and possibly mix the mediums a little bit. I think that'd kind of be interesting to mix some of the mediums together and see what I can come up with. I know some other people have done it, but I'm just really interested in trying to see what I can actually come up with in my artwork. Can barely see. I had some initial trouble cutting these out, and the initial grinding, and realized that my pattern lines were just a little bit too thick. Now this, I actually started this when I was still pretty new, and I was really trying to take on a little bit too much at the beginning, but I was ambitious, so nothing wrong with being ambitious, but I think I took off a little bit more than I could do at the time. But now that I've learned some different techniques and feel that I'm getting a little bit better in my artwork, I think this type of piece would go, you know, I'd be able to do this type of piece. Now you'll see down here that there are just a few gaps, but you know, honestly, I looked at those and I said, well, that's not bad. And the reason why is that, you know, when you look at mountains and you look at things, it's really, you know, it's imperfect. So, you know, having some bigger solder lines in some areas and some smaller lines in some other areas, you know, I think will actually give the piece some different look and a different dimension to it. So now I've got another big piece here, and you'll notice that I have some different shades of this white feathery type glass. It's semi-transparent, it's white and clear, and I did that just because I just don't want a pure white sky. I wanted some grayness to it, because this is kind of like Fuji in springtime, just before it starts to really, all the snow starts to melt off and start running down the valleys that are within the mountains. So I'm going to run over and grind this piece off now, and we'll come back and then we'll do some foiling on this one and this one, and I'll try and do it that way, so that way I'm not just constantly back and forth in and out of the shot. I'll see if I can actually just turn my camera over towards the grinder and let you take a look that way. Let's see if this will work out. There we go. Oh yes, it will. Awesome. All right. We'll go over here and I'll set my mic closer. I think this might work out a little bit better. On the fly. You know what? I better get my safety glasses on. It's starting to fly up a little bit more than I want it to. things here, some water. Gives me a little bit easier to clean the piece off. Get that grinding dust off of there. So you want to make sure you get your grinding dust off. So now I'm back over here. Let me get that other camera tripod out of you guys' way. It'll be an easier look back in. So now we're going to dry everything off. I think I might leave that situated in that fashion right this moment while we're kind of going back and forth on the grinder. There we go. It seems like to fit in there a little bit better now. Same thing here. That's actually good. I don't have to do anything on that piece. I'm gonna have a little bit of a gap there, but I may be able to shape this next one a little bit. So let's see here. Got a little bit of grinding there. And tiny bit there, and then real easy right here. So we'll head over and get this one. Trying to get my little towel here. And drying it and getting all that dust off. And we're back over here. If you can hear me okay, maybe put a thumbs up. Yeah, it is a big piece. Ah, hi Ashley. Thank you for joining. It is a big piece. It's a 24 by 28, I think. It's been so long ago since I've actually measured this. Or 22 by 26 or something like that. But yeah, it's a pretty good sized piece. Let's see how that kind of fits in there. Yeah, I think we'll be good to go on that one. All right, the next piece here is this one. Let's see where we stand. All right, so as you see, I think I'm gonna need to wipe that down and redo the lines because I got a little ahead of myself earlier, if you remember. Let me wipe it down real quick. So I'm going to redraw these lines on here. Set that back in there. See some areas that it is not as much as earlier that I had marked up. It's really just a trim. Really in some areas. This is kind of the tedious part when you're working with some of these bigger pieces. If you're off in one area, then you got to kind of compensate a little bit and make it up in some others. So I can barely see that one. Yeah, I really need to come back through and actually draw that in black. That is actually a pencil mark still. If I draw that one through, it might be a little bit easier to see. I think you guys might actually like some music on, maybe. I think what I'll do is I'll pull my player up on the side here and see if I can't get some no copyright music going here. You sure don't want YouTube to put a copyright strike on me. When it comes to playing some music in the background. How about that? There we go. Now I should be able to see the line a little bit easier. Yes, it is a little bit easier to see now. So now I can see that here I need to come right here and bat it off. Okay, well let's, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get this one set, make sure, yep, that one's good. And that one's all good. I'll go over and grind this one now. So. unfortunately, my marks came off really quick this time. Because of the amount of water that's getting on my sponge right now. So let me go back over and remark this. Really don't want to mess it up too bad, so I'm going to make sure that my marks stay on pretty good this time. Might need to give it a second to dry. Let's try this one more time here. And hopefully marks don't come off this time. Okay, so those look good. Eyeballed those pretty good. This could have some a little bit here. That little bit off, a little in here. And there we go. Now let's just give that a second to dry. And while that's happening, we will do a foil, some foiling. So I'm going to pull this one in here, and hopefully you can, yeah, you can see that okay. And take care of this big piece first. Got the scissors here. Now I use a foiling machine. A lot of people hand foil, but I use a foiling machine. It's actually pretty nice. Easy on my hands and not so much pinching and grabbing. Because I do have a little bit of carpal tunnel in my hands, so this actually helps out quite a bit having something like this. So if you're in the market for one, I highly recommend one. And you can actually find a link on my website to purchase one of these. It is an affiliate link, but you know, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it just helps out and supports the channel as so we can continue making these videos and sharing with you everything that I know about stained glass. Now, granted, I probably shouldn't be doing this on my glass pieces here. I'm trying not to press down too hard. Looks like there was a issue there. There we go. Like that glass got a little bit thick there as I went around. Yeah, there's some spots that are kind of thick on this glass. So the not evenly doesn't have an even thickness all the way around. So I'll have to come back in some spots and line up the glass, or line up some foil in those areas. As you can see here, some of that got a little thick there. Yep, a little too thick. So I'm going to go ahead and run a piece all the way by hand in that area. Everything else looks okay, but in those areas I'm going to have to run one by hand here. Thumbs up. Well, again, thank you for joining. Looks like we had another person show up. Thank you for coming in. If you don't mind, just introduce yourself in the chat. If you're interested in stained glass. Yeah, that one's pretty big here. Like I said, I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat, so if you do have questions, I'll get back and take a look at it. But we're going to try and do some handful in here on this particular piece. I have the hardest time starting these sometimes. It's really getting on there and getting even, and then now when I foil, I try to, it's really a matter of almost like eyeballing. You want to get as centered of the foil as you can. That's what's going to make it, you know, even on both sides. If you have one foil, you know, more on the front side, and you know, some people do that purposely, but most of the time you want to try and get as even centered on the foil as you can. So it's almost like you're looking ahead of where you're actually foiling at, because you want to make sure that even going forward you're kind of lining everything up good. So I try and press it all down good. And then I think, yeah, there we go. That's much better. So now you want to make sure that you're actually burnishing all your pieces. This just makes sure that the foil adheres to the glass really well. And because when you apply heat from your soldering iron later, that adhesive will loosen up, heat up and loosen up. So as long as you got it burnished on there really well, it should stay pretty good while you solder up and get the pieces soldered together. Then you're going to want to flatten all that down. So with the part of this, moving forward on this type of segment, like I said, I'll be doing just different project work and just kind of talking through what I'm doing, and just sharing with you what I know. Wow, this one did not like. All right, I'm going to need to trim a piece off here. Had an area rip. There we go. That looks better now. Now burnishing it all down, like I said, gets it adhering to the glass real well before you add your solder to it and heat it all up. If I stopped in the middle, I got to go back and make sure all of it's down. Yep. Okay. There you can. There we go. Didn't quite hit all the areas, I don't think. There we go. Now we'll put it in here. And good to go. Our next piece will be this one. So here's what I'm going to do. Before I start getting into this foiling too much, I'm actually going to pull up my homicide board just so I can protect my glass a little bit more. So I'll pull it up and down when I'm foiling. I just feel a little bit more safer with it being done this way. No more questions yet. Okay. Yeah, now it's moving a little bit smoother for me. Does make things go a little bit easier. I thank those who are still in there, hanging on here. I'm just going to continue to work and just keep checking back, and hopefully, you know, maybe some more people will join in. It was kind of a last minute adventure to decision to say, hey, I'm just going to go live tonight. You know, just kept kind of, you know, saying, I'll do it, and so now, hey, I am live, and I'm going to continue to going live. I'm going to try and stay on a schedule each Friday night at 8. You know, unless I go on vacation or have something else, but I'll put something out if I'm not going to go live that night. But try to be consistent in going live and just share with you what I know and the different things that I'm doing. So now I can take this up, move it over here. I think that's what I'm going to have to do, back and forth, back and forth. There we go. Oop, that kind of all moved on me earlier because of the way I was doing that foiling on here. So okay, yeah, this one's ready to foil too. And wasn't this one ready to foil? Yeah, that one was ready to foil also. All right, so I'll take these two off and bring my foiler back. And we'll go ahead and foil this one now. I'll tell you, this machine has saved me, I would think, hours, just because of how quick I could actually go through pieces and foil on this machine. So there's different types of foiling machines out there. There's actually some automatic ones too, or powered ones, I should say, and I'm not sure about those. I've never used them, and I don't know, I think I might be a little intimidated by the, you know, powered ones, just to being able to keep up or something with pulling them around. I'm not sure how they actually work, but like I said, I think I'd be a little intimidated by them. At least with this one, you can control the speed a little bit more because you are the controller. What inspired you to make that piece? Well, what inspired me is that I've been to Japan multiple times, and I love the Japanese culture, and I actually plan on making more pieces that are a Japanese theme type pieces, because I just fell in love with the culture, from one, being in the service and going over there, and two, meeting the love of my life over there as well. So yes, my wife is Japanese, and I love her to death. So that keeps me, that just, inspires me, and so forth. Now I can understand some Japanese. I don't speak Japanese very well, or hardly at all. I know words and can understand different words, but I don't speak that much. Just little short phrases of what I've picked up. For some reason, I have a hard time learning languages. So I have two wonderful kids that are all grown up on me now, and but both of them took Japanese in school, and I think they understand probably a lot more than I do. But just the culture is what actually inspired me for this piece, and I actually want to hang it up on a wall in our living room as well. So I hope that answers your question, Mr. Andrew Chung. Come on, get up there. My foil don't want to stay in place here. There we go. Very nice, yes. Okay, so this piece, so now, because this is such a deep crevice, I will actually stop at that point and cut it, and then I will actually come back and hand foil that area there. So I'm going to start on the other side and work my way around. Anime themed pieces. Well, that's kind of interesting. Actually, I haven't, but I think they'll be kind of interesting to do. What type of anime were you thinking? If there's an interest for anime pieces, I think I would probably do some. You're thinking some of the most popular mangas, or from the different anime movies, like Ghibli movies and so forth? Demon Slayer would be cool. Okay. Naruto, Jujutsu Kai, Bleach, Demon Slayer. Whole bunch. Well, I think I might have to look into those and see if there is a market out there for that. from a stained glass standpoint. I'm sure there's a huge market out there in that area, but I'd have to check for stained glass. So maybe there's not, or maybe there's nobody out there doing it and nobody's really thought of doing it. I don't know, but I think I might be interesting to check out. So now I'm going to pull this back in and try and get this handfold in here. So when you go into these, this is actually a pretty deep curve, inside curve. So when you foil these, you're going to want to kind of heat up the foil with your finger by rubbing back and forth, either with your nail or your finger, so that it can heat up and will be a little bit easier to fold over. Like I said, copper's conducive, so just so you could minimize the cracking that might happen. So this side did okay. Let me cut this. And then try this side. Because you don't really want this to split on you. And if it does split on you, then it potentially could show up in your soldering. And depending on how big the split is, so you're going to want to go back and patch that area. But it looks like I was successful in not splitting the foil or getting cracks in the foil. Okay, so now you can, I don't know if you can see that. I'll try and hold it up. Right here is an overlap. There we go. Right here is an overlap. So I'll have to trim that out. It's sometimes called a tag, and it'll a little bit too far out for me, so I'll have to trim all that off. So what I'm using is called a fid tool. And just use this to burnish your pieces down. So I always do the edges first and get all those down really good. Then you're able to come back fairly easy and get all your outside edges down. Just want to make sure you get all the wrinkles out as much as you can. Oh, excuse me. And that's kind of where we are at on this project. If you do like the content, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee account. You can go to buymeacoffee.com /SCOARTGLASS, and you'll be able to either leave a tip or buy me a coffee, so that can support the channel. And also we do have t-shirts and merchandise available. We have a couple shirts out here in the back Discover and Learn. And then we have this Create t-shirt. So let me get over here to the full one and kind of bring you back around to me. Press the wrong button, and that sometimes happens when you're in a live. But I do appreciate everybody joining in tonight. And like I said, I'm going to be coming back here on every Friday at 8. And then also we'll have periodic interviews with other stained glass artists to where we can get to know each other more, get to know different artists, and who knows what type of friendships and collaborations may come about from everybody coming together. So with that, thank you for attending my first live stream, and ensure to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you get notified when I go live again or I post new content to the channel. Thanks, and have a good night.
Ensure to subscribe and hit that notification bell.